Hello, Just Drew listeners. I hope you enjoyed the holidays. We took a little break over Christmas, but we're back, and I'm just going to jump right into it. Today's guest is Martin Gaudet. He is originally from Shediac, New Brunswick, home of the Giant Lobster. Martin grew up a 2-minute walk from a fishing wharf and from the beach on the North Humber land strait. He grew up between a smoked fish factory and a crab factory. He was raised on all things seafood, including oysters. Martin has since moved to Port Dover, a small town near water and a beach where he felt at home right away. Martin has never lost his love for the East Coast or seafood and is now known locally as the Shucking King. Martin now has a mobile oyster bar that brings his passion for oysters to Norfolk County. You can hire him individually or you can find him at local events around the area. Now for today's cocktail. Over to you, Henry.
Thanks, Drew. Today we have the Martin E. First step is to soak some maraschino cherries in rum overnight. Be generous with the rum. We'll explain later. Fill a cocktail shaker with ice. Add Angostura bitters, a teaspoon of vanilla extract, and 2 ounces of rum, but use the rum you were soaking your cherries with. Now we've come full circle. Shake well and strain into a martini or coupe glass. Add a splash of Coke and garnish with a cherry. A word of warning: do not put Coke in your shaker beforehand. Bad things will happen. This is a classy twist on a rum, and Coke served as a martini, tailored to impress your guests while keeping it personal. Now here's the king of shucking himself, Martin Gaudet.
Hey you, you're listening to Just Drew, Just Drew, Just Drew.
Wow, Martin, how's it going?
Good, you.
Yeah, can you want to move that mic a bit closer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like this?
Yeah, there we go. And then we can move it when we, well, what do we have here?
So we got some oysters with some sides that I make. So I make a homemade mignonette. So I made that for you guys. Just some lemon. I grated some freshly grated horseradish.
Yep.
And then your classic Tabasco as well. So
Yep. I'm a big fan of mignonette.
Mignonette, that's
Mignonette. That's a tough one to say.
Yeah.
And what these are, what oysters are these from? What bay?
So these are Raspberry Points.
Okay.
From Raspberry Point. One of
Okay.
my favorite companies. They make really good oysters like Lucky Limes. If you've had those before, they do Irish Points. These ones.
Oh.
Pickle Point as well that they do. They're kind of rare for them, but they have available to them. So yeah.
So I always thought they were named after where they're from, which generally
it can be.
Okay.
Yeah, it can be like the Raspberry Points. Again, they're from Raspberry Point, but like again, they have Lucky Lime and they have a bunch of different oysters.
So that's also the company.
That's also the company. Yeah. So Raspberry Point has like a bunch of different kind of oysters, and so does usually kind of oyster company, right?
I've had Lucky Limes.
Yeah.
I've had Raspberry Point. Are they called sand dollars or something like that? Sand something, and I found it really fishy. But it's crazy how much an oyster can taste different based on where they are.
That's exactly it, right? So you guys know the wine for terroir. Well, in oysters, they call it a médoire. Or mal for the sea, like tal for soil, right? So, So médoire, so they call that for the oyster taste. So basically, the water that it's in, the temperature, what it feeds.
It's almost like, what's that word? Umami? Do you know the word umami? There's there's sweet, spice, or sweet, salt, fat.
Yeah, exactly.
Umami,
right. The umami is more on the West Coast side. I feel like these ones here are more kind of salty.
Okay,
I would say, right. So you'll see, but yeah,
and that would make sense because they're in salt water.
Yeah, exactly, right. So
one of my favorite things to eat with a oyster is a dirty martini because it's like salty, it's vodka-y, and I feel like it just pairs with like that sea flavor.
Champagne and caviar.
Oh,
that's the place to be for this.
Fancy.
Yeah.
Maybe next time.
Yeah, we'll have to have you on again.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll do 2.0.
Are these okay to sit here, or should we like dive into these so they don't get too room temperature?
We can dive in. Oysters will be good 2 hours. Off of cold.
Okay.
Yeah. And then once they're shucked, they'll be good on ice for another little while.
And so obviously these are from Prince Edward Island. Is that like predominantly the only place?
Where I get my oysters are mostly from the East Coast, but actually I got some from New Brunswick,
Okay.
so originally where I'm from. And then you got some from Nova Scotia. You can get some quite a few places.
Okay.
But also like West Coast oysters, right? Like BC has lots of oysters.
I didn't know that.
But I'm not a big fan of the West Coast oysters myself because, again, they're more like umami, kind of cucumber kind of taste, where these ones I felt like have a more of a palate.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. I say we get right into them.
You want
All right, let's do it.
Yeah. Let me just drink some more of my martini.
Oh, yeah. Today we made the Martin E. You got to pause a bit. Delicious. Is his voice cutting out occasionally, or is that just me? Am I tripping out here?
Yeah, I think it's got to be a little bit closer to his face.
Is that why?
Yeah.
I usually don't have an issue with being a loud person. So I don't know why that's happening.
You're projecting very well. We always say just like a fist distance. So where it is right now is perfect.
I got you.
Yeah. Okay. So, well, we're gonna throw this on the screen, but
of course.
So what are we doing here, Martin?
So, right here, not the best one.
Is there? What's that tool called? Is it called something?
So this is a shucking knife. So this one is a shucking knife here, and then I got my shucking tray. So when I go out to events, it'll keep all kind of the mess around here, so it looks a lot nicer.
Okay, for those only listening, he's got it almost looks like a lazy Susan sort of,
or a shrimp ring,
a
giant shrimp ring
with a stone, with a round stone that looks like a knife sharpening stone in the center, and he's putting the oyster on top of it.
Yeah, the great thing with this tray is you could serve them in here, or you can do any kind of serving around here, and then you can put a sauce here if you did want to.
Oh,
so it has like several
purpose.
Yeah, it's multi-purpose, which is great.
You'd fill that with ice, shuck there. I see.
Yeah, absolutely.
I see. Okay.
So for the people that are watching, I guess if you look at an oyster, there's a round shell and then there's a flat shell. So the round shell here is always on the bottom. So you'll want to apply a bit of pressure, and you find the hinge. And when you're pushing on the hinge, it's like you're turning a key into your door till it pops like that. And then you just kind of follow.
That's the scary part once you get it.
Yeah, exactly. And then it has abductor muscles on each side. So it has one on the top. So you see me kind of follow it, cut the abductor. I turn it around because it's closer to me. And then I just take the abductor off this one.
It's like you're a doctor. It's
and
like
then you go. Yeah.
Doing surgery on these
surgical
things.
Skills.
For one of them, we're gonna put the microphone right by it. Get some ASMR.
Some ASMR oyster shucking.
Yeah. Let's do that for the next one. Drew, do you want to move the mic right down?
Sure, let's do it.
Right down to the... Nice.
Okay, everybody quiet. Kind of sounds like Foley artists trying to make like gory murder sounds. You know when they snap celery for
bones breaking.
You go. I think I got it now.
That was that's really interesting being that close to an oyster with your ear. This is so cool.
Yeah, it's great. I love doing events. It's a great time. So again, I do kind of any kind of events, right, that anyone needs. Backyard barbecue to weddings, I always put on there, right?
Yeah.
So, and if you need oysters, I'm there.
Okay, I'm gonna try one after this.
Absolutely. Yeah, you guys dive in. I want to know what sauce that you guys like the best.
Sorry, I meant shucking. I'm gonna.
Oh,
shuck
you want
one.
to shuck? Yeah, absolutely.
It's been like I don't know, probably since the summer since I've shucked anything, but let me give it a shot.
Please do.
I'll try one too. Bring your mic with you, Drew.
Trying. I don't know if I can get it over here like that. Let's see.
Oh yeah, if not, no.
It just doesn't have that curve.
Yeah.
Okay. You know what that new update did? It's doing noise cancellation.
Oh, sick.
That's what I've noticed. Yeah, I hate it already. I'm gonna change it.
I was gonna say, hopefully, it doesn't cancel out the shucking.
Okay.
Yeah, you can tell you've done this before. Oh yeah, it drops. The voice drops off right when you're.
Weird. Oh, I got it. Okay, it's underneath, right?
Yeah, that's right. You got one on the top, so you want to follow the top.
Okay.
Kind of pry it while you're doing it. Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
Beauty.
Top.
Yeah, and then I usually just flip it around, get the abductor closer to you.
This part here.
Yeah, that's right. And then you just want to.
You just separate it.
That's right.
That's it.
That's it. That's all.
Well done.
Nice. Okay.
You did it.
I still got it.
You still got it.
I still got it.
Hey,
but-
for someone who hasn't shucked in what you were saying, a year or something, that's pretty good.
Yeah, probably.
We're gonna put a time on that and see who what the comparison is.
Well, when I go and visit my brother, we normally have them. So the one time they had a whole kit and we were doing it in the backyard, I'm like, okay, this scares me, but let me give it a shot. Because sharp things and stabbing and stuff. And
yeah, exactly, right? Usually I have a glove if I'm shucking, or if I'm just doing it at the house, I usually have a towel or something, right? But
do you want to try? Do you want me to get you a towel?
No, I'll do it. I want to taste one first, maybe, but
sure.
Or I'll just dive right in. I'll get the knife and
towel might help.
Wish me luck.
Like it might give you. Okay, yeah. You
if I
just go
stab
for
myself
it.
as good content.
Gonna have to sign a waiver.
where's your brother? Where does he live?
Yeah, right in Charlottetown.
Oh,
there.
he's in PI. Oh, beauty. We went there this summer with a few friends, and you can't beat the seafood there, man.
No.
It's so good. I like every time I go down home, I always try and hit PI at least once.
Well, and he's got a. Okay, Drew. Sorry, I don't want to distract you here. Do you need help from our expert here?
There you go.
Do you want to come
Yeah,
around
right,
here
so
so
yeah,
you got light?
So you
There
want to
you
apply
go.
pressure like you're doing here, pretty good amount of pressure. And then here's your hinge. So you'll want to try and find it there, kind of dig it in and try and like you're opening up a frozen lock with a key.
Okay, I got it.
Yeah,
Nice.
beauty. And then you just follow the top and make sure you get that abductor muscle off.
Abductor muscle. Oh, I want to see if I can change. This is such a.
And then that's fine. You'll see it there sometimes, but you can just scrape it off. That. And then you have the other ones right here, and then I just go underneath and scrape it off. Yeah, that's it. A nice trick too, if you want to know if you got the abductor muscle off, I push it here. And if I see this, like the black, there's a little black spot. If I see the black spot, I know I'm good. Yeah, man. Great job.
Sweet.
But then you get dirty oyster hands.
Yeah, here I'll get you a cloth.
Yeah, that's all good.
I would love a cloth. My hands are all oystery. That was fun. I could see why you enjoy doing that.
Yeah, no, it's great.
And I was gonna say I wanted to try one first because I feel like if I like it, then there's gonna be like, okay, there's
I'm
a
getting
reward
this
to
one.
this.
Yeah.
I have had oysters, but I've only had oysters at Norfolk Eat and Drink, and they come with a bunch of vodka on top of
Oh
them.
yeah, there you go.
I don't know
Oyster
about
shots?
that. I don't know if I want.
I don't mind that as it like a party thing, right? And I don't mind it, but I usually don't. And also, when I go out, I don't have a liquor license or anything, so I always go. If you have vodka somewhere, you want to put it on the oyster. I'm not going to stop you.
Yeah.
But I can't do it myself when I go to events.
Put it in your mouth and then just throw the oyster in there and
Yeah, exactly,
a
right?
little mouth martini.
Nicely done. Yeah,
Thank you.
It's
You
not.
both did a great job.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, I've shucked a bunch in a sitting one time, but that was it was kind of in the swing of things.
Do you feel like you get in like a rhythm where you're just like, I bet you just like your time just like goes up or down and down, just like oyster just tossing them
Absolutely,
through.
right? If I get a good station set up, I can go to oysters. So I did a wedding, so there was 100. What was it? An hour, and I had to do 140 oysters. And these guys
that's
just
a lot of
didn't
oysters.
stop. They didn't stop oyster. Like it was crazy. They had me part of like the buffet at the end, so everyone was getting 4, 5, 6 oysters. I just couldn't keep up with them. But within an hour, I did 140, and that was like I topped
Holy
out. I
shit.
topped out, and I couldn't keep up. I was putting it on people's plates.
Yeah.
So that's like, but after a while, your rhythm, you kind of get a rhythm. You
Yeah.
grab the oyster, you go, you flip it. Right?
was wondering what
you're basically throwing them.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I bet there's like a cool
Yeah.
art to it once you get like just oyster.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was wondering what your oyster per minute ratio was.
I don't know what that is, but that was like a max capacity. I was like,
You
that
must
was
have
me
been-
sweating. I was like, I couldn't even. I was screaming at someone. I was like, I need ice. You gotta help me. Like I can't stop. These
Yeah.
people
Oh
are
my
crazy.
God. You must have been doing like at least 5 or more per minute.
Yeah,
Probably more. 10? You're doing that's a lot.
That was
That's a
like I
lot.
said though. That was like max, and I felt under pressure there. I was like, so now I base myself off of numbers a little lower than that because I'm like, I won't do that to myself again.
Yeah. And how do you? Okay, so my question is, how easy is it to soy source oysters? Do you got a hookup? Is there a guy? Is there an industry?
It's a backdoor thing.
Okay.
I'm a guy, right?
You got a guy. That's as far as we can go.
No, I got I got a seafood supplier in Kitchener, Coddles. That's who I get them from. And they're great because they get their oysters every Wednesday. So I got an event happening on Friday, so I'll be getting oysters on Wednesday. They'll probably be harvested 2-3 days before that. So you're basically eating oysters that have been harvested from the ocean like 4 or 5 days ago. So it doesn't get fresher than that around here, right?
That's nuts.
Yeah.
That's fast.
Yeah, it's great, man.
And we're so far away from where they come. It's quite remarkable. You can have fresh oysters like that.
It's crazy because you can get oysters from anywhere around the world if you really want to pay for it, right? Like I can get some from Ireland. I can get some, but again, you have to pay for them. But with transportation now, right? And
what are we talking? It would be an Irish oyster would be like $10 an oyster or something.
I don't know. I've never looked into it actually, but I was trying to think if someone wanted to do like an event where they're like, hey, I want to try oysters around the world.
Like that could be like your theme around the world oysters.
Yeah, exactly.
So I guess they kind of grow anywhere there's seawater, but is it predominantly it's cold water?
Usually cold water, right?
Okay.
Yeah, it's usually on colder water, but like I was looking the other day and there was some like by like Australia. And I was like, that can't be cold down there, right?
No.
But
and I think I've seen them in Mexico before.
Yeah.
But I wonder if the cold would make them taste better. Or if like, I don't know, like hot, humid, warm water.
Our oysters are definitely known as like the best oysters around the world, but I think it's because of that cold water that we get, right? Like even in PEI in the summertime, water's still cold down there.
It's like 60 degrees.
Yeah, exactly, right? So
it's freezing.
Yeah, it's great.
Okay, interesting. So what's the next step here? What's the proper way to eat an oyster? What should we have it with?
So recommendation, have it by itself so you get the taste from it. So everyone always says, oh, just take it and slurp it. We were kind of chatting about that. You go, you have to bite into it a few times, right? Because you'll get the full flavor from it. There's some juices and that you don't want to miss out on. And then from there, try anything you want. I myself like the freshly grated horseradish.
Okay.
Topped with a little bit of mignonette.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of
my wife's thing with that. Like, if I have oysters, those are the two sides that I'll have.
I think that's also my go-to.
Yeah.
I'll do like a little lemon over top and then like most of them. And then, I'll do those two. So.
Yeah. Yeah. Grab in, boys.
Okay.
I'm going to just chug a bit.
How's the drink?
This is delicious.
Did I nail it?
Yeah, you nailed it.
I like the...
Yeah?
Yeah, great. When you said that, I was like, oh, okay, I'm going to make that, but it'll be like, a fancy
rum and coke.
Yeah, a Martin.
And I don't want to offend you if I don't like it. I'll probably like it.
I won't be offended.
I'll probably like it.
You know what? Every time I do events, there's all when people have a few drinks and they're like, I've never had an oyster before.
That's why.
And then someone goes, well, have one with me. I'll pay for you, whatever, right? And then when they have it, they're just like, this is delicious. Why was I so scared? Right? It's nice. It's crisp. It's fresh. Cold.
That one looks pretty standard. So what do we slurp it?
Yeah, should come right out. Slurp it down.
Cheers, boys.
Okay. I don't have my... It's gonna...
Oh, it's salty.
Oh, yeah. These ones are very salty. Verdict?
Okay, yeah, no, that's good.
Yeah.
That's really good.
Again, it's not the slimy that people think too it is, right? Like, I know a lot of people are texture people.
It looks slimy and squishy, but when you get it in your mouth, it's like soft and salty and inviting.
And it's like, what's that? Like a little bit of irony? Is that like iron taste?
Yeah, a little bit of iron taste on there too.
And salt, but I like it though.
I think I'm feeling like tequila would be good with it. I don't know why. I think it's the salt.
And pop it
out. The salt and the lemon makes me think of tequila.
That's why I like to do a vodka martini.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know. They kind of go together.
And stuff.
So the caviar goes well with it too, right? It has a little bit of like the salt to it.
I haven't had a lot of fancy caviar before.
No.
Like, not like that. They pop that tin open, do a little bit.
Yeah, that's right.
I've had it like on occasion.
That's not something that I do that often either, but like I try.
But you do.
Oh, but I do. And like I would always say, like for New Year's Eve, that's like you can't beat that, right? Because you got the champagne, you got the oysters, like the caviar. So definitely a go-to for people.
And I think the misconception with oysters is, like we were saying, a lot of people say just swallow it like a pill. And so I never liked it. I was like, oh, like it's slimy. Like, what's the purpose of this? And then I had a gentleman teach me how to eat an oyster the right way. He's like, you know what? At least bite it once or twice because it breaks the flavor open. And then once I did that, it was like my 4th or 5th time giving it a shot. And I was like, oh, now I like it. This is not bad.
Yeah, I chewed it because you said that, and I'm like, I'm gonna chew it, and it was good. I like it. I like oysters.
That's good. Usually, every time someone comes in, I've never had an oyster, and someone goes, "Well, you just swallow it anyways. It doesn't matter." And I'm like, "Well, if I can interject, please, it does matter. Yeah, exactly. There's definitely a way."
And I don't know why that circulates. That method of eating oysters.
I think people want to like oysters,
and they watch other people,
and they watch other people, and it just keeps going and keep going and keep going. But yeah.
Okay.
And then there's a bunch of misconceptions with oysters, right? Like it'll make you sick, right? What is it? The month that starts with R, right? Because it's colder in those months. But really, what makes you sick off of an oyster is the transportation. So that will be your biggest problem, because right now it's all farmed, right? So all the farms are, properly taken care of. They monitor their temperatures and whatever the case is. But once they take it out of the water and in transportation, if you don't keep it cold enough for too long, right? The 2-hour rule, like I was saying, then you can have these problems. But really, the oysters, you can have them any time of the year.
So as long as they're stored and transported at a certain temp and properly, nothing will.
No.
I see.
No, exactly, right? And now with this, there's this new parasite that's happening in the oysters. I don't know if you heard of this.
I have.
MSX, I think it's called.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's been around for quite a while, and it started in the U.S. and it hit Canada in the early 2000s in Cape Breton, I believe.
Okay.
And then it's just been working its way down. So literally when we left in July, we had these oysters, and then the bay that we were at got quarantined because they had it. But it's not dangerous to people.
Mm-hmm.
It's just dangerous to the oysters. It kills the oysters.
It just affects the oysters.
Yeah, exactly. Which has happened before. It's like it's like their COVID, I guess, right? If you look at it that way.
Oyster COVID.
Yeah, the oyster COVID. But what happens is these oysters that make it through are going to be a lot stronger, and that strain of whatever it is will not be affected. Won't affect the next generation of oysters. So it just makes them stronger and stronger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's I don't know how much of the biology of oysters but how long does an oyster live? And oysters are also, I find, very confusing because they're almost like a sea mushroom. Like they're alive because mushrooms breathe oxygen and they grow, but they're not a plant, but they're not an animal either. They're like this gray zone. And oysters are the same. Like I don't think there's a heart. There's no brain, right?
No, that's right. They got a stomach. They got a stomach and they have gills around.
Oh, they have gills.
Yeah. So what happens? They're filter feeders, right? So,
yes.
They're also really viably sustainable, like a farming method to do it, right? Because it cleans the ocean. So I think every full-grown oyster can filter about 50 gallons of water a day.
Wow.
So that's each oyster, right? So you go to a bay and they have like 10,000 oysters, right? So it's probably a pretty clear bay.
Cleaning the bay.
Yeah, exactly, right? And again, that goes with the megawag on what they're eating and different kind of things like that. But yeah, they also have a stomach.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Because they eat, like they open.
They eat, yeah, exactly.
But no brain.
No brain.
So it's
not to my knowledge, to be honest.
Interesting. It's a weird creature.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it is. And the coolest thing about these things is no one really knows if it's a male or a female, right? But there's only one way to know. And so when the divers go down, depending on how the oysters open their shells. So if it opens up kind of the normal way that you're thinking of, that'll be a male. And if it opens up from the side, that'll be a female.
Interesting.
And that's the only way they'll ever know. But the coolest thing is, too, now is that they can change sex anytime they want.
What?
Several times in their lifetime. So if for some reason a bay is not producing as much, like the oysters will know that somehow, and they'll do a 50-50, they'll change teams. Yeah, exactly.
Damn.
Yeah. So they're pretty cool. They're pretty interesting creatures. I agree with you there. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Interesting. And is there a difference between taste of like a male or female oyster, or like
I don't think so.
Does it matter at all?
No, I don't think so at all.
Huh.
Because you wouldn't know what we just ate, right? Like I bet you can have 10 of them. They'll probably should be pretty close to the same taste.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And do they
sex?
breed? Does it work like fish?
Do they bang?
Like, is there oyster eggs?
So
where the heck do these come from?
So exactly how it begins, I'm not sure, but it's like a spat, right? Like it's what they call a spat at the what it creates, and it's basically just like this small organism that they capture. So what happens?
Like spores.
Yeah, exactly, right? Kind
of.
Yeah.
Shit.
But so I'm not 100% sure how that gets created, but I know that they call it a spat. And then, so in the wild, you'll get oyster beds. because they stick together, right? That's why they call them oyster beds. So they all there's oysters on top of oysters kind of everywhere. So what they do in farms is they grab those spats and they put them into these cages. And then they attach themselves to these cages. And then so basically now all the oysters are on the cages so they can kind of harvest them easier. Yeah, exactly.
And they grow their shell.
Yeah,
themselves.
Yeah, exactly. So they grow slowly, and so they add on new shells. So they start really, really small, and then these shells get added.
I was gonna say because in the crevasse of them, it looks like there's like layers, kind of.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So they grow that way. So it's pretty cool.
Super interesting.
Yeah. Oysters are pretty fun, and that's why I kind of went with oysters when I was thinking, what do I want to do? So.
Well, you could have. What did you say? You grew up in between a smoke fishing factory and a crab factory?
Yep.
So seafood. Yeah, you could have done anything.
Exactly, right? So on one side there was a smoked fish factory, on the other side a crab factory. So
that's so
and
East
then
Coast.
down the street that I grew up on, there was a wharf, and then they would fish lobster and fish when I was younger. So you'd go down, and up to a few years ago they changed that wharf and they made it a not commercial, but a just for personal boats, like speed boats and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But you could call up the fisherman and say, hey, I want some oysters, or I want some lobsters when you come back in. So you bring your bucket, they tear the bucket, they put the lobsters in, and then you pay them cash, and then you go back to your house. Takes like 5 minutes because we're so close, and then you cook them live. So I can't have seafood that's not from the East Coast anymore. I'm spoiled now.
You have this acquired taste.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I'll never do a lobster around here.
No,
I just won't. I won't pay for it because I know how much better it can be.
like you want to eat it there, or it needs to be from there.
It needs to be from there.
So
and fresh.
if it's an East Coast lobster, but it got transported here, you're cool with that.
I probably won't eat it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, just the pricing is crazy expensive, right?
See.
On that, but also it's just I know it's not.
You want the fresh.
I always want the fresh. Yeah, exactly.
You want
right?
to cook
yeah,
that. Yeah.
I've done that out east. Just go to a.
I've never been out east, so But I could imagine.
It's a different style, man. It's so fun there. It's very laid back. Everyone's chill.
I've heard
it
good
reminds
things.
me a lot of Norfolk County, to be honest. When I moved down here, because I moved a lot. So when I was 17, I moved out. I lived in Montreal and Ottawa. And then, so then I moved down here. And then it kind of reminded me of this little place that I'm from, Shediac. It was just one street.
Are you bilingual?
Yeah, my first language is French, actually.
Really?
Yeah, I grew up speaking French for the first 17 years of my life, and then I moved out, and then even Montreal was quite English, to be honest. Not Quebec itself, but in Montreal, right? So,
well, I learned that because when I drive, sometimes I drive to PI to see my brother, and we stop in New Brunswick. Everyone's French. Yeah. I'm like, what? Are we in Quebec? They're like, no, we're in New Brunswick. I'm like, a lot of people in New Brunswick are predominantly French.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's the only bilingual province in Canada.
True bilingual province.
Yeah, true bilingual province in Canada. So, yeah, I was lucky. And also, like, on my mom's side, my grandmother was English. And on my dad's side, French.
And so you learned French first.
Yep.
What age did you learn English?
I think it was kind of just as I was growing up. I can't really remember, but I think I was able to speak English. Like,
because you have no accent.
Oh, thank you.
Like zero.
Yeah.
I can tell you're from the East.
I lost my French a little bit, which I never thought was going to happen. So I know. So I've been trying to use it a little bit more, but just thinking a word sometimes they don't come as easy. But also when you go back home, the language that they call it is Shediac. So it's a French and English mixed together. So instead of saying like conduire, which is driving, I'm going to say je vais driver mon car. That's how I would say that. So driver, which is drive is English, obviously, and then is a verb, right?
So it's its
French
own dialect.
Super own dialect, yeah.
Are the French
very unique?
No. How dare you combine that?
Quebec hates it.
I could imagine.
Oh, yeah,
they
absolutely.
Just, there was this comedian, he was doing some stand-up about Quebec, and he was like, if you start in French, they get pissed off because you don't speak proper French. And if you start in English, it's how dare you not speak in French.
Yeah, exactly.
It's kind of like the attitude.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. So it definitely was interesting.
So how do you pronounce again the dialect?
It's called Shediac.
Shediac.
Yeah.
Shediac.
I think it's CHIAC.
And is this only New Brunswick or a certain section of New Brunswick?
Yeah, certain section of New Brunswick, but everyone kind of has their own dialect, right? And then you have Acadian. So where we're from, there's a lot of Acadians. I'm an Acadian. Okay. So then you have Acadian dialect. So
Sounds
you got words.
Super cool.
Yeah. So you have words that just Acadian people use, which is like old French words, right? So like the Acadians are like the first settlers from France in the early 1600s, and they never left. And
So
I
it's
don't know if you've
almost
heard
like
of the deportation in 1755 of the Acadians and this and that. So
Oh.
no, okay. So there was this, obviously the war between France and England, and then the Plains of Abraham has to do something with that. And don't quote all my history.
Okay.
But so basically, the English won, and then they asked the Acadians to sign over their property and this and that, and they said, no, we're not doing it. So then they said, okay, well, let's all gather into the town hall or churches or this and that, and they basically just shipped all families different places around the world. So that's why the Cajuns in Louisiana are Acadians as well.
And that's why they speak French
That's
down
why
there.
they speak French.
And
Yeah.
like New Orleans is a French town, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yo.
So the Cajuns, so every 4 years they have it's called the Congrès Mondial des Acadiens, so like the Acadian congregation. And so like we have family that lives there, but they're like 5 times removed or something. But yeah, it's pretty cool. They found my grandfather the one time when he was still alive, and he was like, hey, you're my great, 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 great uncle and stuff like that. So yeah.
And where was he living?
So the person was living in New Orleans.
Ah.
Yeah.
And you have a relation to them.
Yeah, exactly. So I kind of lost it now. I don't know who they are, but yeah.
That sounds super. So it would be closer to like a France type of French, like a Parisian French, as opposed to like Montreal or Quebec.
I wouldn't even put it even close to that. It's its own thing now, right? Yeah, certain dialects. There's kind of funny words like we'd say if you want to take a seat when you got halt-toi une bûche.
Okay.
Which means pull yourself a log.
Okay.
Just pull yourself a log and sit down, right? And a few things like that. So
Old English or Old French.
Yeah,
references.
exactly. Yeah.
So you speak Acadian. What's the other one called?
Shediac.
Shediac.
Yeah, French and English.
Okay.
There you go.
French and English, and then English.
Yeah.
Jeez. Who would have known?
Yeah. Kind of funny that's your name now, too. Shucking King.
King.
Oh, yeah, the Shediac King.
Yeah.
Shediac King? Oh, that would have been clever.
Full circle.
Where were you guys when I was trying to name it?
I know, right?
It was right there.
There was a few renditions that were pretty funny. One of the ones I was thinking of was the Mother Shucker.
Oh, yeah.
But there's already, like, if you Google it and you look for it, there's
Shucker?
already some Mother Shuckers
that would
around
probably
there.
do good in Norfolk.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
People would eat that
Norfolk
up.
would love that.
Yeah, I thought so.
So yeah, it's the Shuck King or Shucking King?
Shucking King.
Shucking King.
Yeah.
Shucking
And you got
King.
Instagram and stuff and website? And
Yeah, I just got Instagram and just at the Shucking King.
Mhm.
Yeah, so little plug here. You can contact me anytime. Also, my email is theshuckingking@gmail.com. Looking for something for an event or a wedding or anything at all, contact me.
Yeah, and you just show up with oysters and
That's right.
do your thing.
Show up with oysters, do my thing. I just built a little bar with a buddy. So we got a nice live edge wood and we kind of sanded it and stained it ourselves.
Sweet.
So I'll bring that for like bigger events that I have room. I was at the beer stock with it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you go to breweries sometimes too, right?
I do, yeah. I do breweries, but also in the wintertime, because it's a little slower for them, we do pairings as well.
Okay.
So I've actually done Burning Kiln once, which was really fun.
Okay.
I've done Charlottesville, Frisky Beaver,
Yeah.
a few places like that around.
What do you like to have with your oysters, wine or beer? Do you have a preference if you had to pick one?
If I had to pick one, probably wine.
Okay, I was
Probably like
In my head, I
probably
was-
like a nice white wine.
White
nice
wine.
white wine.
In my head, it was a white wine
Yeah.
as well.
like a dry, like a Pinot Grigio or something.
But like a beer pairs really well with it. All right.
Yeah.
So, and the fun thing is too, is like at Charlottesville, let's say, they have like really cool beers, right? So they have one, I think it was like the Moo-Hoo, I believe,
Okay.
and they had like a mango. So it got me looking. So I made like a mango hot sauce, which is now like a fan favorite that I kind of bring to places. So I have like lots of different sides that I like to make.
Yeah.
Chimichurri that I kind of make. Yeah, it was kind of hard to. I went with the classics today.
Yeah.
But another one that I make is a lemon dill. That one
That sounds
is
good.
excellent. Yeah.
I feel like lemon dill would slap with some
Yeah,
oysters.
yeah, it's pretty good.
Shall we, oh, go ahead. I was going to say, shall we have another one?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Hey,
Like,
guys,
let's get back
go
into
ahead.
it.
Okay,
well,
so
let's do one with a what you call it a side, but it's like a topping.
Yeah, like a topping. Yeah, I do call it a side, but yeah, mostly like a topping.
Side sounds cooler. I like
Yeah,
side.
yeah.
It's a side. This oyster side.
Yeah.
So we've had a regular one just to get the pure.
And it was good. I was surprised how much I liked it.
Try the mignonette. It's a fan favorite.
Which one is the?
That's the
jar.
The jar one. So a mignonette is basically a vinegar-based sauce with shallots.
Okay.
Or the one I'm making.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. How long? So from when it spawns, like how long does it take to get to this stage of eating?
Usually 5 years.
Okay.
3 to 5 years. Most
Okay.
oysters are usually 3 to 5.
I was thinking it was in the years range.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
Like they don't get too old because they're a bit bigger and
mhm.
you know, they obviously need to make money from it too, right?
So I guess these farms will circulate, sort of.
Yeah, they'll have different stages going on and all the
Yeah,
time, right?
okay.
Yeah, exactly. So they're probably harvesting. I would assume they harvest every year. And
Okay.
they have like areas, right? Because Bay's massive over there. So
Yeah.
they definitely have like areas. They go, okay, this is, year 1, year 2, year 3.
Yeah.
They just rotate them.
And there's not a season per se. Is there an oyster season?
They're better. There are seasons.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are seasons when it's cold too.
Okay.
Yeah.
My
yeah.
brother has mentioned that he has a friend, and he had it fresh out of right out of the ice.
Dude, that's
and he's like,
awesome.
it's the best thing you
when
can.
it's colder and they harvest it like that. Yeah, absolutely. So where we're from is on the Northumberland Bay in
Really
New
good.
Brunswick. So
Yeah.
there's actually an oyster bay there. An oyster bed. And tried it a few times because you're not really supposed to be eating wild oysters, but
Oh,
No.
you're not supposed to eat.
no, I don't think so. You're not supposed to not that they're endangered, but I don't think you're supposed to because they're really good for
The
like
natural
coastlines and
environment. Okay.
exactly, right? So I don't think they want
Interesting.
people to I think if you have 1 or 2 you're right.
But
But
do
you
you
can't
think
go
they-
fish. You can't go like get 500
Throw
and
a
start
few in
selling
your
them,
pocket.
right?
But could you put like
exactly,
1 or
right?
2 in your pocket for,
Oh,
for a little
absolute-
treat?
Absolutely.
A little treat,
Come
yeah.
on.
Do you think they taste better? Because that's fucking. I mean, that's shucking good.
Yeah.
I allegedly tried a
A wild one
wild one. Allegedly,
and different than like a farm.
Did you like it?
it was allegedly good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I liked it
If
with
it
the
happened?
mignonette. The mignonette is really good on it.
Yeah, you like it?
Honestly, I don't think you can beat that. I go for that every time.
Oh, yeah.
These are
Sometimes
really
it's like
good.
a red wine one. Sometimes I find.
Yeah. You can have a red wine. You get different renditions of mignonettes too, right? But yeah, this is the one I stick with,
That's-
and I'm a big fan of it.
fantastic.
Thank you.
Is it a secret? Do you put anything else besides shallot in the?
Yeah, it's a part of vinegar, part rice wine vinegar,
Okay.
and then a few other ingredients
Secret
in there. Yeah, a few secret
Shucking King ingredients.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna need to know when the next event is because I feel like this would be really fun to do if you had like do a bunch of different of the mignonettes,
Yeah.
and then you could like try them with the oyster, kind of like a tasting bar.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of
oysters.
what I try and do when I go out too, right? Give 7 or 8 so people can come back, try a few different things.
Yeah.
I actually have just a bar, like a raw oyster bar that I'm doing at Sassy Britches
Okay.
this Friday. So that should be pretty fun.
Where's
I've
that?
met them a few times in Brantford.
Sassy britches. Okay.
Yeah. So they're in Brantford,
take a road
and
trip.
they were at the beer stock here in Dover, and we kind of met. We were chatting. They're like, "We'd love to have you at the bar," and I go, "I'd love to come. So let's do it." So they contacted me not that long ago. They go, "Listen, when can you come in?" And figured out a day, and here we are. So I'm actually going to do something at Charlottesville at the end of the year before New Year's as well. So
Nice.
keep your eyes peeled for it.
I feel like that's a good way to market too. Is just people go to the event, they see you like, wait, there's a guy for this?
Yeah, exactly. yeah.
Or a podcast, because now I'm thinking, I'm like, I'm gonna drop this to Shelly and see if we can get a shucking event at Eco. That'd be super cool.
Yeah,
That'd be really cool.
Yeah.
down.
That would be dope.
Yeah.
You could would it go with Nordic theme?
In the
of
cold, I thought
the
of that.
spa?
Yeah, I don't know if I want to serve oysters in the cold tub. That'll be a bit difficult.
That's true.
But I mean, I would do this and then run to the spa.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it'd be a little snack before you hit the spa, right?
Heck yeah.
Have you harvested oysters before?
I haven't. One thing I
It's-
would love to do.
It's very restricted, right? You need to have a license and all this.
Yeah, I think you could go and do like a boat tour and they'd show you. I don't think you're right. I don't know if you can actually like participate in the whole thing and liabilities, I'm sure.
Because my brother was telling me, at least for lobsters, it's sort of the license is kind of generational because they're not handing
It's-
out anymore. So
Yeah, for oysters, I'm not sure, but for lobsters, yeah, you're absolutely right.
So if you know a guy, you know a guy. That's pretty much it. You can't become one.
I think
'Cause they're
that's
not
why it's like
passing anymore.
generational, right? Like you said, right? So it's like, oh, my dad was a lobster. Oh, my grandfather. It's like, yeah, because if you lose it, like you can sell it.
Yeah.
You can sell it,
But
but
why
then
would
you,
you?
but
Then
yeah,
it's gone.
exactly, right? Like it's not an easy job for lobsters either. You get out, you got to be on the ocean, pretty rough, at like 4 a.m. There you go, and you only get back
So quick.
at like 7 or 8, like 7 p.m.
Yeah.
Like you got long ass days out.
Yeah. Your day's
Crazy.
gone.
Yeah, it's tough.
Have you done it?
I've never done it. My dad's done it a few times, so I've heard the stories. But
Okay.
yeah, I would love to. I've gone on lobster boats and kind of pulled a few and stuff like that. But I was like,
Yeah.
I'm not doing a 14-hour shift.
Do you want to bring up my brother's Instagram?
Heck yeah.
He's got some.
Did you start recording?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, you're good to go. On top of my game today. Let's go to like Hayden. He has some really cool pictures on a lobster boat. He's a photographer out here, so he does. There's often a lot of lighthouses and seafood.
Is
Oh,
this
yeah.
his current account?
Go to he has like a photography account. Click see the Hayden collection
Yeah, I
here.
was gonna say. I feel like. Okay, yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, might have been. Is that an oyster right there?
Yeah.
There we go.
That's a big ass oyster.
She's
Just a shell.
Brackley Beach. Yeah, we were just down there not long ago.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, great place.
What am I looking for?
More
More
just keep
oysters.
going. There's these really cool pictures of him he spent a day on a lobster boat, and it was some really cool photos.
Yeah, my next door neighbor was
Sure,
a
put 'em on
lobster
here.
fisherman for most of his life, and yeah, it's
Oh,
pretty
there's-
cool, man. We've been on boats a few times.
Lobster.
Lobster. There you go. There's one of
This
them.
one?
Yeah,
Beauty.
that's so cool.
So those lobster.
Those are lobster
Traps.
traps right there. Yep.
So I guess you set them, hook them, and it attaches to a buoy, right? A buoy
That's right.
hangs.
And you're given a color.
Mhm.
I believe that's how it works, right? So you know if you're orange, like you only get the orange one, right?
Mhm.
And yeah, absolutely. It's pretty cool. And like I was saying, when we were younger, we had that wharf that was down there. So they put bait in there and they'll leave it out for like 3 weeks.
And
So
just let it fill.
It's just nasty. It stinks. But yeah, it's pretty cool.
What exactly is a wharf?
Yeah, because you guys no one calls it around
It's
here,
a
right?
very East Coast
yeah.
word.
So it's yeah, like a pier, I guess,
Okay.
right? But for commercial.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I guess Port Dover has a wharf then.
Would it?
Well, is that
this-
like where all the boats goes at considered a wharf?
Like, is this a wharf?
It says wharf.
Yeah. Put
When I think of wharf, I think of like a small town, kind of like us was like a wood. It was like a
Like a
big
port?
big wooden little
Yeah.
like
guys with the fishing pants,
exactly,
overall
right? Yeah.
waders on.
Fishing boats everywhere,
Mm-hmm.
scales, fish scales.
More like commercially. Like, it wouldn't be like just for boats. It'd be like for commercial boats.
Yeah, like now I don't call it a wharf anymore because it's just not a commercial, but maybe it is.
Kind of like that word.
Yeah,
Wharf.
because I think our road in English is wharf road.
Wharf road.
Wharf road.
Oh, okay. So you grew
Which
up
is a quai in French.
okay.
Yeah.
And you grew up at a wharf essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically.
Like you're
It's right there. Like I could see it. Go out of if you go out where my parents are still right now, where I grew up, you can see the ocean.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much right when you open up the
What-
door. It's beautiful.
What made you want to leave? Do you miss it?
I do miss it. Just
Yeah.
being young and needed to spread my wings and figure out stuff and just go, yeah, right? Like explore. And so I moved out to like Moncton, which is like just a small,
I know Moncton.
yeah,
Yep.
smaller town. And then went to Fredericton, then went to Montreal, then Ottawa, and then came
Okay.
here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Very different.
Yeah.
No kidding. We have a lake, and there's a water, and
And I always call it the ocean.
okay.
And everyone makes fun of me, but I
That's-
go, it's just, I'm so used to saying it's a big ass body of water, man.
I have friends from England that come, and every time they come, they just oh, the ocean.
The
Like,
ocean, yeah.
It's a lake, but I know what you mean.
Yeah, exactly, right?
You can't see the other side. I'm like, yeah, I know. It's a big lake.
Yeah, it's massive.
It's a huge lake.
Yeah, that's one reason I love it. Living by the water, like a beach community, right? It does really remind me of back home, which is really nice. So
Yeah. And it's not as densely populated. It's not a city, right? Like
no, yeah,
I grew up in Hamilton, so I grew up in a city and then moved out this way and
Yeah.
kind of fell in love with the lifestyle.
how long have you been down here then?
I'm going on close to 8 years.
Okay.
8 or 9
I'm
years.
pretty much right there too, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, 2015, I'd like to say that I moved down, possibly.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was living seasonally. So during the summer, I would live here and then go back in the wintertime. And then it just kind of shifted and would have been 2016 around there full time.
Yeah. I've always loved it down here. As soon as I moved down, I was like, I don't see myself moving.
Yeah. Did you, what held you here? Did you find a girl? Was it the food,
I moved down
a job?
I moved down for a girl.
Oh, okay, there it is.
Nice.
Yeah, of course. Moved down for a girl. So there you go.
She's from here?
Or lived most of her life in London.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
But you met her outside of Norfolk.
I did, yeah.
Okay.
I met. It's a long story.
We don't have to dive in.
Yeah, it's fine. But basically, I met her at a student exchange program a long time ago,
Okay.
and then we connected, I guess, the summer of, and then she found me like 8 years later or something like that, and we were both single. And I was like, "Oh, I'll visit you," and then
Here.
yeah,
Yeah.
and then here I am married now with a beautiful baby girl.
Wow.
Congrats.
Yeah,
Nice.
thanks.
You're here
Well,
to
she's
stay.
4 now, so yeah. Oh, I'm here to stay. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
established now. I got a house. I got a kid. I got 2 dogs.
Nice.
Yeah.
They're always like, Dad, why do you talk funny?
Yeah, exactly. I put my daughter in French immersion actually.
That's
Oh,
smart.
Yeah, so in Dover here, so she's and she's catching on so good. I won't lie, I did a horrible job teaching her French.
Oh, yeah.
As she grew up and now she started school, I'm like, man, I couldn't even do this. Like,
She's doing better than you now.
way
Yeah.
better. Yeah, she's doing great.
Well, that's what they say is you learn a language, it's easier younger because your brain is more
Elastic.
plasticity and
Yeah,
because I would love to learn French, but what do I have to sacrifice something in order to do it.
yeah, that's right.
I'd
It's
have to-
it's a big commitment, I think, learning a new language, right? So
Yeah. And the best way is to just immerse yourself. And so when you're forced into an English speaking area,
Yeah. What do you do, right?
what
Like
do you
it's
do?
like, hey, I'm learning French. Who am I going to talk to, right? I'm going to go call me up, I guess. But
Yeah. And
even that, I won't teach you the right words. So
No. And you said you listened a little bit to the Fernando one.
yeah, I did.
So
yeah.
like he had a language barrier, a major one. And even Paul was saying, at first he would just hang around at the barbecues and he wasn't quite sure what we were all saying, but he was learning words here and
Yeah.
there. And man,
by association, right? Like they're talking and you're looking at what they're doing and you just, right? So
Your
Yeah.
brain kind of just
yeah,
connects the dots.
yeah, it's pretty cool.
and I've heard English is one of the hardest ones to learn because it's kind of like a mashup of languages.
Yeah,
'Cause
which is
there's-
surprising actually.
it's like Germanic and
I've heard that
Latin
before.
and
Makes me feel way smarter. It's like I know one of the hardest languages.
that's
So,
right.
although already knowing English, I would say probably Mandarin because there's different pitches of the same word and they
Yeah.
mean different things.
Yeah, I think the same thing. I'd be like the kind of Mandarin to me would be way harder, but
Because you can say a certain word in Mandarin, and if you say it with a different tone, it means something.
yeah,
And I'm like, and there's no letters, there's just symbols for words. So
Yeah.
their alphabet's like gigantic. But I know there's a guy, I worked at the winery, he spoke 7 languages.
7.
Bit of a savant, like one of those guys who plays multiple instruments, is a mathematician, does languages.
okay.
Like, he kind of has that like brain for it.
But you know what?
Yeah.
You go in Europe and stuff like that, it's a minimum 3 to 4 languages down there. Like
Yeah.
we don't like around here it's like only English or only French in Quebec or you
It's
know what I mean? But
really
like,
embarrassing when
it's
you go
crazy.
there as like someone from here and they're like, "Oh, like what languages do you know?" And you're like, "English." And they're like,
Yeah.
"Okay, like and French." And you're like, "Nope."
We started in what, grade 4 or 3, 4 maybe?
Yeah, it's so casual though. Or
And it's-
maybe I
for
just
French?
took it casually.
Yeah, but you don't retain anything.
oh yeah, no, it's just probably an introduction too, right? Like
Yeah.
unless you're in
Well, you
immersion.
take it in high school too, but even then, like,
They don't take it seriously.
no, like
Not the public system, at
No.
least.
Well, I mean, in high school, I probably wouldn't have taken it seriously, anyways, myself, right? So it's like I just want to credit, and
Yeah,
move
why-
on with my life. Where am I going to use this?
Why would I need to know
Yeah,
French? And now
exactly.
that I'm 30, I'm like, man, it would be so cool to know French and
Yeah.
to speak to you in French right
Yeah,
now,
yeah.
but I can't. I kind of I feel like the public system should have some kind of French immersion built into it.
I mean, we should learn a lot more in school than we do.
Yeah. And they removed, my parents used to have it was almost like what do they used to call it? Like basic skills. Like it was like, does anyone know how to sew a button here?
No.
Yeah,
You know how to
Do
sew
ya?
a button?
I could do it. Yeah,
They used to
let's
teach.
pop one out.
Yeah, all right, give me a sewing
I
needle
got
and
a
a
jacket
button.
upstairs.
I could definitely do it. I
No,
learned,
there's no way I couldn't do that.
I took home ec and we
That's
learned.
it, home ec.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So
And
it's
we
not
learned
like
how to
a.
sew and how to make sloppy joes.
I don't think I had that in high school. Or it wasn't like a.
No,
it
this was in
wasn't-
elementary school.
Okay, we did not have
grade
that.
eight.
No,
we had home ec.
it would have been high school, but you had to do good in school to go into home ec.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because it's
Oh,
not
ours
something
was-
that you're given. Like you have to be like, oh, you have all your credits. What's a fun thing you want to do? And that would be like one of them.
It should be
That's
essential.
back home.
Yeah,
when
that's
we
a
were.
weird
Yeah,
thing to like
absolutely.
have.
How do you make a budget?
Yeah,
How do you sew a button on your
How do
jacket?
you cook?
How do you cook?
yeah.
How do you make stuff out of wood? We made like shelves. We made like, which was useful. Another thing was like acrylics.
This was all
Or
in
like-
home ec.
Yeah, in
Oh,
grade
that's
in
cool.
grade 8 or
'Cause we had like a
7, 6.
woodworking one that we had to use, or then we had like mechanic that you could do. Like
Yeah,
you
we
could-
had a
you could
mechanics
pick
class.
specific ones, but
Yeah.
yeah, we didn't have like a home ec where you're like learning all these cool things.
I was like all in one. Is that my coffee? I think I'm gonna get a beer going.
So, Martin, if you want another drink, there's a fridge built into this.
Oh.
And please help yourself. There's local beers. I have American vintages, which I'm really into lately.
You want to toss me a local
yeah.
baby?
There's water,
What do we
Cottage
got here?
Springs.
Give me something silly. We'll do a shout out if there's something local.
I think there's Cutwaters in there. Maybe one or two.
Waters.
What's this one?
What are you
Back-
trying
Oh,
to
that's
say,
a local
Drew?
beer. That's
Yeah?
that's from Backyard Brewery.
Nice.
Oh, where are they located?
So they moved.
There you go.
So they're now at the Cider Keg. So they were brewing out of the Blue Elephant.
okay, I thought I saw them at the cider keg. I was like, wait a minute, I recognize these ones.
All right, quick shout out to Backyard Brewing.
Backyard Brewing.
British bitter.
Which they
They've
make.
had some really interesting beers. I had at the Blue. They have a lot of them there.
Yeah.
I forget what it was. It was like last year. It was like a pepper beer. It was a spicy.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I think I tried it. It wasn't like a white peppercorn.
I don't
Okay,
remember.
maybe this is
I
a
think it was
different one.
red pepper beer. But I was like, I just wanted to try it. And it was good. I'm like, wow, the flavors were really.
Which did I give you the right mug? It's fine.
I don't remember. I'm not gonna.
We're both named Drew. What's the worst
It's
that's
it,
gonna
right?
happen?
Exactly.
All right, cheers.
One of us turns.
What do
into
you
Andy.
got there?
I got the still the backyard, but it's the Kentucky Common.
Oh, okay.
So we'll see.
All right. I was just
Oh, it's soft.
visited
That's
them
good.
at their new location. So do you know where the
That's
cider
really
keg
good.
is?
Yeah, absolutely.
So they took a little section out there, and now they have because at the Blue, I think they were kind of sort of labeling and stuff in the basement, and now they have this beautiful setup.
oh yeah.
I feel like it works really well for them in the fridge, and yeah, it's really nice.
Yeah. They
So-
took over kind of the back side, right? Or
Yes.
the whatever what the side is, I guess. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
We had faux clothing in that section, and she was moving our clothing around. I'm like, what is she up to? Like, I'm not gonna pry. I want to
Yeah,
ask.
yeah.
And then I started seeing the logos pop up. I'm like, oh, it's
Yeah,
gonna be.
I like going to the cider keg. They have a lot of things for kids too, right? Like, so we went to the. They had a maze, a corn maze this year so we brought Adelaide there and a few things
Yeah.
like that. So yeah, they're
Yeah.
really fun. They're cool.
Yeah, it's because I know Tracy runs it, Tracy Haskett, and I know her from when I used to do tourism a lot for the county. She used to work at the county and then moved here.
Yes,
But she's done a really good job with the space.
she has. Yeah.
She's brought in like a lot, and I'm obsessed with those East Coast chips. The something bridge,
Covered bridge.
covered bridge.
Which burnt down not that long ago.
Wait, what?
Yeah, the whole covered bridge thing burnt down, and it was like it had so many jobs that like I don't know what happened. They're still making some, so obviously they contracted it out. Or
So like the whole facility
yeah,
where they're
yeah, the whole thing burnt down. Massive, yeah,
No.
terrible.
where is it located?
Somewhere in New Brunswick.
Okay, so it is in New
Yeah,
Brunswick.
it is. Yeah.
Um,
Trying to think of I'm trying to think of where it is because I think it's where like the longest covered bridge is in the world.
that would make sense.
Yeah.
Because I am
Overall.
really, I'll get back to this fire thing, but wow, yeah, it seems to be a topic of my life. But what was I gonna say? It makes sense because hot oil catches on fire,
Yeah.
and I could just imagine a vat of whatever scale they have
fire.
That's
catching
right.
on fire. It'd be like a bomb going off.
Would have been the greatest smelling fire though.
Oh,
Yeah, I've never
Probably.
smelled burning
smell
oil.
like potato chips.
Yeah, like all the potato chips, everything. I feel like it
Yeah,
would.
true.
I feel like it'd be pretty good.
It would just smell like a fish and chips. The whole town's just fish and chips.
Fish and chips. Fish and chips
Oh.
barbecue.
Yeah, that's right.
You don't know how it happened though.
No,
I would
I
assume.
don't actually. Yeah, I know it was in the news. Like I saw it right away, and I was like, "Oh shit!"
That's so sad.
Yeah, that's sad.
Well, I still see their product around, so obviously it's getting made.
Yeah, I do. They're pretty popular chips too. I like those.
And so if they're in New Brunswick, what's the potato situation there? Are they getting it from PEI? Is that the only acceptable spot?
I don't think so. I mean,
they don't have a monopoly.
PEI, right? They're known for the potatoes, but no, I don't think they have a monopoly on it. Good question, though.
Okay. And is there? Obviously, you have to have farmland and grow, but is the main industry predominantly? I would say seafood would be my guess.
It's pretty big. Pretty big over there.
Focus.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Forestry kind of stuff like that too, right?
Especially New Brunswick.
Yeah. But that's kind of where I moved down because I don't know. There's no jobs there appealing to me, and then here I am. That's why I work now at a cannabis facility, which there's a massive cannabis facility down there. But it's not like I was looking for a cannabis job.
Yeah.
I just ended up there.
It was just a good job.
Just a great job. I was looking to move down.
Yeah.
And I actually got the job offer on December 30th. 2014 or something like that. So it's a great new year.
I know it's kind of like, obviously we're not cautious about talking about cannabis, but like, can we talk about this at all?
Yeah, absolutely.
So what do you do here?
So at the facility that I'm at now, which I've been there for 5-6 years, I'm the general manager there.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and what we do is we grow and we only sell bulk to other licensed producers. So we don't jar, we don't do anything, right? I sell you 80 kilos, no branding. I just sell you
the pot.
Yeah, exactly.
The flower.
Yeah, exactly, right? The cannabis that you're looking for, and I try and find different profiles. So like a citrusy profile, gas profile, right? Like earthy profile, depending on, because everyone basically, when they sell it, the strains that they call it is not really a real strain. They basically marketed a certain strain.
Just like as a brand, kind of like.
Yeah, exactly.
You can buy Pineapple Express, but that was never a strain when they made the movie. But now you can get it.
Yeah, you can cross something with something and you name the craziest names.
Yeah.
They are the craziest names.
I get a kick out of them sometimes.
Yeah. Oh, same here.
Like purple rhino unicorn. Like, what is this?
Yeah.
I don't think I would smoke that. That sounds scary.
Yeah, exactly, right? So it's pretty cool. And then be surprised how much you can sell overseas now. So that's opened up in the market because it's like it was saturated in the Canadian market and the price per gram was like crazy low. So probably half of my production goes overseas.
Oh, a lot of competition, local competition.
Just everyone had a lot of weed and they wanted to.
Grow it yourself,
exactly, right? Like so many places were opening up. They didn't have great weed, but they were selling it for cheap. So just like houses, right? Like everyone's selling cheap weed, then I can't go and sell mine for $1 more than you because everyone
been around since 2018?
17.
Yeah. So it's still fairly new. So I feel like people don't know the difference between shit weed and good weed and
no. And I think the old school smokers probably, I think they're starting to catch on or starting to like buy legally, but I don't know. Like how many people still probably go to their dealers? Like, I don't know. But
for me, it became so less fun when it became legal. Like I smoked a lot of weed when I was a kid. When it was like
I stopped before it got legalized, like years before, and I was like, man, what the hell? Why did I stop now? Yeah. Right? It's just too strong now.
You miss like that side quest you go on. You're like the Fellowship of the Ring, and you're looking for Gandalf.
It's like we're gonna party this weekend. We gotta get some weed. We gotta roll it. Like all this stuff. You gotta get the papers and
you got all the buddies. Okay, empty your pockets. $5, $5. I got $2. All right.
Now you just walk downtown, and which I live downtown. It's kind of convenient. Like I don't smoke a lot, but we do like the drinks now.
Yeah,
which are pretty fun. You just like crack open a can of cannabis.
Yeah, it's pretty cool how they have all these like new renditions of whatever, right? Yeah, exactly. It's crazy.
High.
Are you making derivatives at all? Is it just strictly flour?
Strictly flour.
Seems simple.
It's so simple.
Yeah,
it's great. Well, I mean, it's super complicated because all the regulations for that you have. It's ridiculous.
And now that you're the GM there, I feel like you must be dealing with that constantly.
Oh, yeah. It's regulations and just customers and overseas. And it's like, oh, you want to have a call with Australia? It's like, yeah, can we make... They're like, no, it's going to be 5 or 8 p.m. for you. And I'm like, all right, let's make that work for you guys. And it's pretty cool, though. Like, talking to people all around the world, like Israel and Portugal and Australia. And yeah.
Am I allowed to ask? It's a private company?
It's publicly owned.
Oh, it is.
Yeah. So it's on the over-the-counter stock from CBDY. It's called like the stock is CBDY.
Okay,
but it's only like pennies.
Okay,
it's OCT. I think is a penny stock.
Is there like a parent company that owns a bunch?
No, they're just owned us.
This is
yeah.
Interesting.
Target Group.
Okay.
Target group is the owner of where I work is Canary RX.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. It's pretty cool. Like,
That's- yeah.
if you would have asked me before I moved down if I would have been in the cannabis industry, I would have said no. Like, what are you talking about?
This
Got my first job.
this wharf local
Kijiji.
Kijiji. Not even a
Kijiji.
joke. It was like, oh, looking for a French customer service. I was like,
Oh shit.
I'm French. There's no one around here that can do this job. I can kill
Yeah.
this. And then I
And-
show up and it's a cannabis facility. Didn't say it when I got
Oh,
there.
that's
I go,
exciting.
what is this place? And they're like, oh, we're a licensed producer of cannabis. I'm like, we? They're like, no, we call it cannabis. I'm like, all right,
Yeah.
cool,
This
man.
is agriculture.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, right? And it's been a ride since then, I'll tell you that. But
So obviously you've had to educate yourself
yeah.
deeply on these plants and things like that. And
Yeah.
do you have like a botanist there that
So we got like they call him a master grower.
okay.
Yeah.
Is that like a sommelier of weed or something?
Hell
I mean,
yeah.
it's a lot of the times it's people that have just been growing for years, right? And
So
they're
they
like-
know.
Yeah, absolutely. But they also have background in agriculture, like because of what you guys have here, right? Like you got so many crops. So a lot of the guys did veggie for a long time, but they also did cannabis on the backside, like on
They're like, you know what sells better than tomatoes?
yeah,
Marijuana.
yeah, that's right, exactly. So so what we have is a lot of experience in the agriculture, like in the agriculture and cannabis. So he's been in the cannabis for several years as well. So yeah,
That's
it's pretty cool, man.
And if you have turnover, it's like the pool you have to pick from is like an agricultural community.
Yeah,
So if you
you can get some good growers for sure. Around here.
you pull on someone new, they're gonna know something about. I know, even though it's a very different plant.
Yeah.
Um,
But like they can see the symptoms, right? They're like, oh, this has, maybe this disease or it's deficient. It's deficient in calcium, and I'm like, where do you see that?
Yeah.
Where do you see that? You see this little stripe there? No.
I have a friend that home grows, but he's grew up on farming, so he
Yeah.
just applies those skills to this, and he's like, yeah. So if you give it like calcium at this point and nitrogen at this point, he's like, these things are monstrosities. Like, there's
Yeah.
2-3 of us trying to touch hands around this thing. I'm like,
Yeah.
this is nuts.
I
It's
feel like
fun.
I probably couldn't grow that well, to be honest,
No?
because I'm not a grower like at the facility. Obviously, like
Yeah.
I'm more like the
Operations,
the
and-
operational
yeah.
side of everything, right? But
But you still need to have a grasp of it.
yeah.
So you can speak their language.
Well, yeah, exactly, right, and make decisions too, right? At the end of the day, if something happens, I have to say yes or no, sometimes yay or nay something. So I have to have some sort of understanding, but I'm like,
Yeah.
just explain. I always go like, dumb it down to me. Pretend I'm a 7-year-old.
Yeah, a 7-year-old that's managing a pot
Yeah,
facility.
exactly.
Yeah, I grew a few plants in my backyard the one year, and it was pretty fun. It was exciting.
Yeah. I tried this year, and then we left on vacation, and I didn't ask anyone. I go, it'll be fine. It was not. After 2 weeks,
died?
it was not fine. Yeah,
Oh, really?
It died.
Shit.
But it was still in a pot, and then the pot fell on the ground, so it was
Oh,
like probably
okay.
like a week on the ground. I was like, I wasn't
Yeah.
really committed to it, to be
You're
honest.
kind of like, if it works, it works.
Yeah,
If it
exactly. If
doesn't-
it works, it doesn't. Just one, because I don't even smoke, and I haven't for years.
That's
So-
you're a character. You're this Shediac speaking New Brunswick guy who runs a what's the term? I don't want to say grow up. That's illegal.
Cannabis facility.
A cannabis facility
facility.
who also shucks oysters but doesn't smoke cannabis.
Yeah, well, I used to
What a-
quite a bit when I was younger, but I stopped for a long time ago, and now it's like it's so weird working. I go, if my younger self knew that I didn't smoke right now, and I work where I work, he'd beat me up right now.
He'd be like, what the hell are you
Yeah,
doing?
he's like, what are you doing, man?
Yeah.
You'd be so cool.
Look at all this fucking pot.
Look at where we are now.
What? Yeah, we made it. This is childhood dream right
Yeah.
here.
But when I first got the job, like it's so funny. You're talking to your friends, and they go, "Oh, like it's like you'd be running in cannabis fields, and you can
Yeah.
do what you want." It's so restricted, man. It's
Oh, I'm
crazy.
sure,
Like you
yeah,
have to wear like you have to gown up,
Full gown.
you have
Yeah.
to full gown, hairnet,
Weigh your pocket.
mask. Oh yeah, absolutely. It's crazy, man. So it's good though.
My buddy owns a similar facility, but strawberries all hydroponic. So
Yeah.
it's like you know things on, put the step in the puddle of chemicals or
Yeah.
whatever, and it's like because I could just touch a plant and all of a sudden give it something. So-
Yeah.
It's,
I think
you
it's just
can
the
like
cleanliness
it
Yeah.
just
of it, right? Too, yeah. And there's diseases out there that you can transport from one plant to another, and right now in the cannabis industry, there's something it's called HLVD, which is hop latent virus, and it's just like decimating the cannabis industry. Like I would say like 90% of producers probably have it.
Whoa.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like that oyster thing we're talking about, but it's marijuana plants.
Yeah, exactly.
Whoa.
It's crazy disease, and it just like it decimates. It's crazy.
Like I knew about my first taste of like the concept of this was like working around and a person does apiary and what do they call those, bee mites, or like they have mites almost, like lice, and it just decimates bee colonies.
Yeah.
And there's just like these essentially lice for bees. And I was like, wait, so like even things this small like get this kind of stuff?
Oh yeah, it's nuts, eh? Like it's crazy what can affect an organism.
Yeah.
Right?
And
it's so small.
You don't think of a plant like that.
No, not at all. So yeah, I mean, we had it a long time ago and we eradicated it. That's the word, right?
Eradicated.
Yeah, killed it. And crushed it. And now I'm very careful every time I bring back, like if I, because you can get clones and stuff like that from other companies. Like they have to do a test on it. We do a test when it comes in. Like we're like super, super careful.
Damn.
But it's kind of the same thing with the oysters. Like now with this going around, like you can't just introduce, like I think they have to do some tests now. And I don't even know, how do you quarantine a bay? You know what I mean? Like, oh, the oyster has it, they quarantine it, but it's still reaching. Like it just hit New Brunswick not long ago for the first time, like a week ago. So it's like, how do you stop something like that? Especially in the water. It's all connected, right?
Like you said, though, like the ones that are going to survive are going to be stronger because of it.
And luckily for us with the oysters, that's exactly how that's going to work. For cannabis, it doesn't work like that. You just got to kill it.
Damn.
Well, how is this disease moving? Like, do these oysters migrate?
They don't. It's through the water, right? Through the water
it's
system.
Just floating.
Yeah, exactly. It's
so
just floating. I think it when it's warm, when it's cold, it either kills it or it's more dormant. But when it gets to the hot water, so I think in the summer it kind of propagates and then it stops for a little bit. Then it gets further and then comes back. So I don't know how they're gonna.
So if it's just floating, like I'm thinking, what do they put massive nets up?
Yeah, like what is it? I don't know much about it. I think they're still trying to figure it out themselves.
Interesting.
Because they didn't know what to do, so they just quarantined bays, right? So but they couldn't harvest the oysters because probably at that point it probably moves
stir
it up a little bit, like what I'm assuming. Anyways,
I'm gonna have another oyster.
Yeah,
okay,
so the water's starting to get to it. So
oysters swim.
Do oysters swim?
And is that a stupid question?
It's not a stupid question because clams can, right? Clams can and stuff like that.
Yeah.
These ones can't. No, they basically anchor themselves to something.
Okay.
Yeah. So the spat, which is the smaller, so they go into a cage, right? And then, oh yeah. That's some freshly grated horseradish. That's going to be a good kicker.
It's a lot of horseradish.
I like it.
Bottoms up, fresh horseradish with the lemon juice this time.
That looked like a lot of horseradish.
Like the dry fresh is nice. Because usually it's like pickled horseradish in a jar.
I'm going to get in there too.
I'm still, you know what? If I have to pick one though, it's got to be the shallots.
Yeah? Damn, don't tell me that. Because that was really good. I started with the shallots.
No, you should try it for sure.
I'm going to do the horseradish.
Do the horseradish and the lemon.
This isn't recording anymore too, by the way.
Okay, that's fine.
I just felt like it was going to die, so I close it.
I just wanted to get him doing the shucking.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I mean, might as well bring a few oysters.
Yeah, super cool.
Hang out.
Well, because we've been talking about it, and we did bring you up on one podcast. Because you have a spot in Dover you like to do it sometimes in the summer, is it? You have like an actual spot?
No, I don't.
Okay, you don't.
No.
Okay, because we were talking about, who was it? Maybe it was Fernando, and he was saying he used to see you in Dover a lot doing shucking, but maybe
I haven't done a lot of oysters in Dover, to be honest. Because I do I don't. I usually do like a brewery or like private events and stuff like that, right? So I don't really have like a location that I'd go to.
Maybe we were confusing it. Okay. But yeah,
Must have been an imitator.
Must have been.
How many events do you do a month?
So obviously this is a side gig for me, but if I do like in December, I'm doing 4 or like 5. So that's enough for me.
Nice, yeah.
Yeah. So if I can do like 3 or 4 a month, I'm happy with that. Once a weekend, something like that.
Yeah.
Solid.
Yeah.
Because I'm having a lot of fun with these. I like these a lot.
Yeah, you enjoying it?
I'm enjoying these a lot. They don't look appetizing. I'll say that. And then you eat it and you're like, oh, this is good. It's delicious.
It's definitely a stretch for someone who generally doesn't eat seafood or doesn't.
100%.
Huge stretch.
That's right. Like I if you're not even eating like
cooked mussels,
beer and butter, exactly,
and,
right. This is definitely a stretch.
Yeah,
I feel like cooked mussels are good because I like mussels. Like I eat those. They're not as. I don't know what you'd call those. But mussels are very like they seem more condensed. Like,
Oh yeah. Well, you cook them and you steam them, right? Because you can also barbecue oysters. They're
really?
Pretty damn good.
Yeah.
Put some butter on there, put some toppings, some garlic and stuff like that.
Good.
Get it boiling just for a few minutes, and then cool them down and eat them. They're really good.
Cooked oysters are pretty common, I think. But now that I enjoy raw ones, I can't do it.
I do mostly raw ones as well. If I have to, if someone has a Rockefeller or something like that, I won't say no. And that's a certain type, but they're not all Rockefellers. But I think that's like what is it, like cheese and
cheese
gratin kind of, something like that on the top, right? And then you broil it, and then
shit.
I don't know exactly how to do it, but
so somebody wanted to try this for the first time, and obviously you'd be the first choice. Book the Shucking King, but if you're fully booked and they can't get you, what's like the best way to go about this? Just go to a grocery store, buy some, try shucking it?
The hardest thing is if you shuck it, right? Because you'll get a lot of shells in it, and if you don't know how to do it properly. So it's like, go to a nice restaurant. Go to a nice restaurant and go like an Oyster Bar, right? Because there's quite a few in Toronto, probably not around here as much. I don't even know if you can get really oysters around here restaurant-wise.
Lounge 33 has oysters sometimes.
I was talking to him the other day, and he was saying they didn't have them anymore, but maybe they're bringing them back here and there.
They just... like when they get a shipment, when they get them, they go fast.
Yeah.
So like if you're not there the day or day after and you come, they won't be there.
Yeah, because I'm sure they get them real fresh too, right? But so actually Devlin's. I know Devlin does.
Devlin's, yep.
Devlin does, because I do a bit of work with them as well, actually. So, yeah. Exactly. I do that because if you're trying to shuck yourself, you're going to either hurt yourself or you don't know what you're doing. It's going to, you can buy these little wooden...
I've used that.
Yeah.
So when I was being taught, they're like, put it in here. I'm like, honestly, I just want to put it on with this cloth. It feels better. Like, well, just don't cut yourself. I'll be careful.
Yeah, no, exactly. Right. So, but they have it for like, if you're not sure how to, but once you feel that click, the first few times you're like, okay, I got this.
Yeah.
So I've taught like quite a few of my friends and they're getting pretty good.
Though, like a key. I like that analogy. Wiggle it like a key.
That's right.
Because you're just kind of like, because if you just push, you're just like,
yeah, you'll never get it if you're pushing, right? Because these are still alive when you're doing it, right? So.
Whoa!
What?
Yeah,
those are alive.
Of course, if you eat a dead oyster, you'd be so sick. It'd be crazy.
Really?
Yeah,
holy
absolutely.
shit!
Yeah,
those are living.
Yeah,
right there.
No. Those are dead because we
opened them.
We opened them and took them off the abductor muscle. So we've killed them.
Fuck. Okay.
Murderer.
Wow.
Yeah. Shit. Okay. Well,
this is what I was saying. No brain, no heart.
But interesting because it's alive. So it's like it's not like the shell is holding it. The shell is it.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like a crab where the shell is
exactly.
in the shell.
Yeah.
It's like it's connected to the shell because it is the shell. Okay. Well.
Yeah. Once you crack it and you do that, exactly. It's dead because any seafood. If you eat dead seafood, you're gonna be sick.
But like dead for a while. Like you said, these are dead, but it's dead on ice.
Yeah, exactly. Like if they were already dead and then you're shucking them, then it's the same thing with like a lobster.
Fucked.
When you cook the lobster, it's live. Yeah. Right? You don't cook a dead lobster because
and there is, it's very small risk, but there is a risk to oysters because they carry something.
Yeah, they do, and I can't remember what it is, but again, it's like if they get too hot for too long, right? So a lot of it is preparation and transportation.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you got to make sure you deal with someone very knowledgeable.
Yeah, there you go.
And who does it all the time.
Yeah. Well, I get inspected too from the health unit, and they come over. So you got to have all these things. So I got its own fridge at the house.
True.
You got to have. I log the temperatures when I have oysters every day just to make sure that obviously it didn't drop, and a few things like that. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I honestly don't think I would deal with it. I would just hire you or something. Be like, I want to have a party with oysters. I'm like, I don't want to fucking deal with that. I don't want to make people sick. I don't want to have to source them.
Yeah.
Well, when we move into like a legit podcast studio, which is like a dream of ours, we'll do an oyster party. An oyster party.
Hell yeah.
With the Shucking King.
I'm down.
Yeah.
And I'll make dry martinis and rum and cokes.
And I will drink them and eat oysters. That's what I'll bring to the table.
Yeah, same.
People, they're only invited if they've never tried it before.
Yeah.
That's
it's only newbies to
only
oysters.
Newbies allowed.
That's right. Scare the hell out of them.
We'll convert them.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, there's 3 left. There's 3 of us.
Okay, I got to do a shallot. I got to do a shallot one.
What about Tabasco?
Yeah, I'm going Tabasco right now.
Oh, true. That's
Just
one I haven't
Tabasco?
done. Yeah, I might have to do that. And then I've tried each version.
I do also like a nice spice to it, like Tabasco.
Yeah, so do I.
I think you're right. That's delicious.
It's so good.
When I do events, I always bring like double the amount of everything for the mignonette and freshly grated horseradish, because you were saying it's like kind of the creamy horseradish that you get, but I prefer the freshly grated.
Yeah, me too. Hey, bottoms up. Did you go?
Bottoms up? No.
You know what?
Fuck, man, I love these.
The Tabasco is nice too because it has a lot of vinegar in it.
It does, yep.
I can't believe this took me. I kept trying it, and at events it would happen. I couldn't get past the texture of it in my mouth, and I would gag.
Biting it's way better.
And then that was what's changed it for me. They're like, bite it. And as soon as I did that. It's like when you
take a shot, but you don't swallow it right away, right? It's in your mouth, and then you're like, oh,
yeah.
You can barely swallow it. It's the same thing with oysters. Just chew it like normal food, right? Like,
yeah.
Well, I don't know if that's the same. You don't chew a shot. I don't know. I've never chewed a tequila shot. Yeah, I've never chewed a tequila shot and be like, oh, that makes it better.
You've never done a Tostito shot before?
A Tostito shot?
You know those?
I've never heard of those.
Tostito cup things?
Oh, yeah?
No. What's a Tostito cup?
You put vodka in it instead of like salsa.
What the?
Pop
that
it in
sounds
your mouth,
intense.
But you got to chew it because it's a Tostito.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly. You don't want to choke.
I don't know.
Like a toast. Like, okay, sorry, stupid.
You get the bowl one. I don't know. It used to be a thing. In
you
high
put
school.
shots and chips.
This guy used to put vodka in it,
But then you
have to chew the vodka.
Yeah,
that's
sounds
brutal.
like you had an interesting
Super
guy
brutal.
at school.
Especially vodka. There's way better booze out there.
He was a character. He would usually just walk around parties with a Jaeger bottle. Anytime someone say his name,
Tostitos.
A bag of Tostitos.
Yeah.
Some vodka.
Yeah.
Would not recommend.
Just a snacky guy.
But I also haven't done. You said vodka and oysters or
vodka oysters? Yeah.
Yeah, they're a pretty popular thing.
Do you like it?
I don't mind it.
Huh?
It's but you need that deep. You need like a deep shell. Because I feel like you're ripping someone off if you don't have because you can get oysters that are known to have deeper cups.
Okay.
But yeah, it's.
But if you need to get some vodka, they probably, I don't know, if you just sprinkle it on there, it's like the taste of it, right?
They've done it a few times at the Norfolk Eat and Drink. So Nicole, my wife, used to be the manager at David's a while ago.
Oh, shit.
So they would do Norfolk Eat and Drink. So I would go, when they did that, I would go help them just shuck oysters and have just before I was the Shucking King.
Yeah, but like you're
this
East Coast.
But I know how to shuck. Yeah, exactly. Right. So that was I think there was 600 oysters that night, something like that. Ooh. That's what I kind of did. I think the last time I got
in one go.
Did 550 oysters, I think, in one night.
Wow,
then your hand's sore after that, though.
No kidding. Did you learn this at a young age? Is this a very common thing to be eating out there?
We've my dad's a crazy oyster fiend. So he goes to somewhere, and if it's free oysters, watch out. Because his record is 52 oysters in one sitting.
52?
Oh yeah, I don't know. Hanging out.
I don't know if that sounds hard because I had 3.
I don't even think he's trying. Yeah, exactly.
I've had 24 in a sitting.
Oh yeah,
yeah. It does sound like a lot.
We went to PEI with another couple of ours and our friends, and then it was oyster special or whatever. We sat down. We're like, okay, we'll have 12 oysters. 3 of us. The other one doesn't eat them, and so we ordered 6 of those. Right, because there was a special. You could just eat oysters. It's so easy to eat these oysters.
They're kind of like chicken wings of the sea. Just
clean.
Can I get a pound of oysters?
That's awesome.
It's just clean protein
with some blue cheese on the side.
That. I'm definitely
Please do.
Chicken wing of the sea.
Yeah,
that's great.
And it looks like it too, kind of. And it's you eat it and then you leave the bone on the. It's
He's gonna start tossing them in honey garlic next.
Yeah,
that's right.
Hell yeah, exactly.
Honey garlic oysters.
Bundy.
Well, let's
Bundy
talk
oysters.
About what about some of the? You said you've made a blueberry.
Yeah, so I did a jalapeno mignonette and blueberry mignonette. There's raspberry.
The fruit ones sound very interesting.
Yeah, the mango hot sauce is another one of my favorite that I made.
That sounds solid.
Yeah, it's super fun. I made a stout mignonette because when I was doing it with one of their stouts at Charlottesville, so I did a stout mignonette. That was super fun. So I really like the pairings because then I get to try a bunch of different things, and if I like it, I put it in my roster, right? Yeah. And then I'm like, hey, these are what you can choose, right? So I usually say when you book, you can have as many sides as you want, but it'll be plus X amount or whatever, right? Because it's a little bit of work. But it always comes with 4 or 5 sides automatically. And I always suggest kind of this plus one.
And how do you do it? You do a flat rate, you do per oyster. How many do you recommend?
Yeah.
For a party.
So I usually, so it depends. I always ask, like, do you know you're having an oyster party? You're gonna get lots of oysters, right? But usually try and look at about like 2 oysters per person, because a lot of the times, maybe not half, but a lot of the people won't eat oysters, right? At a party.
They'll have one.
But they'll have one, right? And then it'll be like, okay, so this person will have 3 or 4. So usually it's, they were 100 people. I did like 200 oysters.
Okay.
Right? Two a person.
Makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was like perfect numbers.
Because if there was like a bunch of food, I would probably have 3 to 4.
I do time plus oyster.
Okay.
But at the end of the day, what I try and do is I try and have the oysters, everything in, when you're looking at it per oyster, I try and keep it at $3.50 an oyster.
That's great.
Which I think that's restaurant price. I come to your house, I set up, I shuck your oysters. I'm knowledgeable in oysters, so I like to talk about oysters or about whatever what you want to talk about. So if I set up, do that, I clean, I leave. It's like I was never there, right? So
full service.
Yeah, full service.
Do you have a minimum party size?
I don't. I have like a minimum like 100 oysters though.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh.
Yeah. Maybe 50 to 100 depending.
Me and my dad could do that.
Yeah, exactly,
no
right? 50 to 100, I guess it depends. Like if I have to drive, I'd be like, listen, I'm not going to drive for 25, 50 oysters because it's a lot of time and everything like that. But, everything has its price, I guess.
I'm just, my birthday's in February, so I'm just...
just throwing it out there, right?
Putting some feelers out there.
Before the next few weeks, I was taking pre-orders for oyster trays. So I'm delivering a few oyster trays within like the Norfolk County area. So it worked out pretty well. So because I'm buying a bunch of oysters, so I just needed like a count. So I was like, okay, by December 1st, order your oysters. So I got quite a few trays going out. So for Christmas parties and stuff like that as well. So I kind of try and do that around Father's Day or Mother's Day or things like that, right? Where I can just deliver a tray of oysters. Yeah. So I don't have to be there, and it's a little bit more cost effective.
Shuck those at home?
I shuck them at the house.
Put them on ice. And then...
The cool thing is if you shuck an oyster, it'll be good for like a few days. But you have to keep them. So what I do is I actually put the top shell back on. So I do the whole thing. I put the top shell back on. It has to be moist.
Just to keep it like...
Yeah. And then I put like a moist towel underneath and then saran wrap over the whole thing. And as long as it's kept in the cold, it'll be good for like 48 hours.
Okay.
Yeah.
Neat.
That's super cool.
Very cool.
You like it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like I knew a fair amount, but I didn't know this much about oysters.
And there's so much more that I'm always learning about them as well. So there's so much to learn about them, to be honest. And it's even the flavor profile, I'm still learning flavor profiles of different oysters and how to pinpoint them as well, right? And how to pinpoint the flavor as well.
Yeah,
right?
you gotta catch them all.
Yeah.
Are there like oyster sommeliers? Are there guys going around? Like, can they?
There are. Yeah,
I assume they're experts.
Yeah, absolutely. So
job.
There's something called it's called OMG. So it's the Oyster Master Guild, and it's kind of the first oyster community, and then you can take courses. So they have like Class A, Class B, or Class 1, Class 2, Class 3, and then you're learning about all these different kind of oysters. And there's a guy called called Shucker Patty, they call him, but he's Patrick McMurray from the Toronto area. But he has like the record of the most oysters open per second. Yeah, exactly, right. So, and that's who actually he designed this one.
That's specific.
Yeah, he designed this specific one, and it's like ergonomic. I really like it because it's very intuitive.
Yeah,
where the other ones are just like straight, so you're kind of going in and you're fighting like it a little bit. Yeah, so I really like the handle of that one, and so they have these courses that you can take. So I've been kind of following that and kind of learning that way.
Canadian, or is that a global?
It's global.
Okay,
and they have but it's more based in the U.S. though.
Okay,
which I find is unfortunate because there's a few people in Canada, but I feel like most of it's kind of in the U.S.
Are they known for oysters?
For the U.S.?
I guess Maine area.
Maine, yeah. When I was in Florida, and Florida, I will say, has a great seafood, by the way.
Oysters too?
Oysters, the ones I tried were from Louisiana, and a few ones like that. I would say nothing touches PI oysters still, if you're trying those ones. But like their scallops, their crab, and a few things like that, fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, and they have shrimp down there, right? Shrimp boats?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, which we don't really have.
No.
We don't really have. It's more of like a warm water type of animal.
Yeah, that's true, actually.
Don't they fish that? Is it the Mississippi River that a lot of shrimp is in? I don't know.
Forrest Gump would tell
right?
tell me that's right.
That would make sense. So, but we have the best oysters. So,
that's right.
Lobsters.
Well, I think so. Like the PEI oyster became very, very popular in the 1920s, because in Paris they had this seafood convention or something like that, and a bunch of oysters were put out, and then Malbec won the best oyster in the world, and then that put that on the map.
Get them here, because I really enjoy Malpecs.
Yeah,
and Malbec, Raspberry Point, my top two.
And then what happened was, not long after, there was another virus that went around, and then they went and they called it the Malbec virus.
Oh,
so they took a dive for a while, right? And PEI and stuff like that, because you associate it
with that.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, it's pretty unfortunate.
And as far as these farms, are they mass produced by companies? Are they individual families? Is it a mix?
It's mostly individual families,
okay,
from what I
cool.
could tell. Yeah, because where we went, it didn't look like it was state of the art. Not that there was anything wrong with where we were, but it's not like you're not looking like it's a Loblaws or something like that, right? Like it was.
They're not buying the water area. It's like individual farmers.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes me feel.
It kind of looked like it like that. Yeah, exactly. Right. So, and again, it's sustainable farming. Right? Oysters are sustainable.
Does anybody? Because I know a lot of shellfish are in religions and things like that. In ancient cultures, they strayed away from them because of getting sick and things like that. But it was probably, like you said, the preparation of it.
Oh, yeah.
And I think the other concept is like they filter. So, like, are you getting all the things that they're filtering?
Yeah, that's right. You don't, though, right? That's the thing, because they're super clean oysters.
Yeah. And it's the same, like I'll eat liver sometimes.
But, yeah.
It's the same concept. Oh, it's the filter of the body. That's gross. Why would you eat that? I'm like, because I don't know.
Because it's delicious.
It's delicious.
Yeah, no, exactly. I think there's some connotations with oysters for exactly that reason, right? Oh, they're filter feeders. You can get sick. You can get sick, but you can get sick off of chicken, right? If you leave chicken out for too long, or you cross-contaminate it, you're sick.
Yeah. Yep.
You get salmonella, chicken, right? So,
well, I think that's why it was kind of, I don't know what religions, but like shellfish and pork specifically are two big ones that they stray away from.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like Islam, especially, no pork, right? No bottom feeders, no shellfish. And I think just back in the day, they didn't know about diseases and how to prepare it, and
fucking wipe out a whole family. And they're like, "What's going on?"
Because of some bad oysters. So they're like, no oysters, illegal. And it's just part of the doctrine. So
yeah.
Sorry, did you want to say something?
No, I have nothing.
Okay.
I'm just absorbing.
I know, so much to talk about. We can wrap it up soon. Is there anything we haven't touched on? I know there's a lot to talk about.
Yeah. No, I think we went through quite a bit. It's actually quite funny, though, how the kind of business happened, because it was my buddy's 50th birthday, and I'm like, yo, what do you want for your birthday? We're like, what do you buy someone, right, for their birthday? And he goes, I just want oysters, but no one can open oysters for me. And I go, well, that's ridiculous. Like, I can open up oysters. He's like, bullshit, you can. I go, I'll go to your place. I'll get 100 oysters, and I'll shuck 100 oysters for you on your birthday. So, and while I was doing that, everyone was kind of around me. Just like while I was shucking, everyone was so interested, and right. So, and I was like, man, there's something to this right now. So it was at another party. I kind of did the same thing, and I was like, all right, I'm doing something with this.
Yeah.
And that's how it started. Just people's fascination. They really like it when you're shucking oysters in front of them. And it's kind of
it's exciting. Bit of a show.
Yeah, exactly, right? It's a bit of a show. So, yeah, that's kind of how that started. And it was only last year that it happened. So, there you go. It hasn't been that for long, but.
Well, I think that's why I gravitate towards like mixology or bars, because, they're pouring and doing different things. And it's like you're watching them make it, and then you get to try it.
Yeah.
So, it's like we're watching you shuck it, you're placing it, you have all these little side things you've made.
Yeah.
And it's I see some similarities between them.
It's kind of like an art, right? Like, especially when I see someone make a good cocktail. Like, again, I always go back to PEI, because I feel like PEI has just amazing food and amazing cocktails.
They do.
Right? Like, they know how to do it right over there. So we went to this one place, and the guy, I just basically said, he's like, what do you like? And I go, oh, geez, all right. So he's just like, he just whipped something up, right? And I was like, that's so cool. And then you try it, and it's like, that's amazing. He's like, you like that style? I was like, yeah. So then he goes and makes something totally different. Like, there's no menu. He just kind of said, this is what I like. And the guy kind of knows what he's doing, I guess, right?
That's so cool.
Yeah, super fun. And it makes the drink even better.
Yeah, because you don't have any expectations.
Yeah. But it's like just the atmosphere, too. Like, when you go travel, right? Like we went to Greece, and I'm not like an olive guy, but like you're in Greece, they bring you fresh olives. You're like, well, when in Rome, right? Like, you try, and I actually liked it. And I go, did I actually like it, or did I like the experience, right?
Yeah.
So you kind of get that experience. So I think brings that level up.
Well, it's like oysters are a bit of a stretch for my mom, But if we're in PI and we have a dozen, she'll eat one.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, my mom doesn't
she
touch
likes
oysters.
it. No.
No, even an East Coaster, she's like, I just don't do oysters. Yeah.
I mean, these tasted great in your basement during a podcast. I couldn't imagine eating these like out
right
East
there.
Or something. Yeah, that'd be nuts.
Well, we should go. We should go
trip?
visit my brother.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Road trip.
Let's do it.
Road trip. We'll go.
Yeah,
we'll drive. We'll stop in New Brunswick.
Yeah.
We'll hit a few farms.
Yeah.
A few oyster farms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll go to the longest covered bridge.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, man, thanks so much for coming on.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks for bringing oysters. Very generous of you.
Absolutely.
Appreciate that.
This is super cool. And everybody go follow the Shucking King on social media.
Please do.
Book him for your event. That was amazing.
Yeah, thank you.
Book him
I
for
feel
your
like
event.
in an event atmosphere would be even more fun.
Yeah, it's super fun, right?
Yeah.
Always a few drinks, people having fun. You guys set up an oyster bar. Everyone's like, oh, it's pretty cool. I like it.
Where's your next public event? You said it was in Brantford?
Yeah, so it's Brantford at Sassy Britches
Okay, when's this happening?
on December 6th.
December 6th.
Yeah.
Sassy Bridges. Okay.
What's the one after that?
So after that, it hasn't been announced yet, but I'm doing something at Charlottesville.
Fuck yeah,
Okay.
that's close.
Charlottesville on December 30th.
Okay.
I'll be
Are you
gone.
busy?
Yeah,
I guess
I'm gone.
that's
I got a
weird.
wedding in
Is that New Year's or the day before New Year's?
That's right, the day
Yeah.
before New Year's, yeah.
what time?
And then I think it's 6 to 9.
31st.
I think they're
At
going to
night?
post it at 6.
Not at 6, 9 in the morning.
6 in the morning, yeah, exactly.
Well, I could probably swing that.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to keep an eye on your socials for that.
Yeah, please
Okay.
do. I'll post it on my socials for sure. And then probably as the winter comes, it's probably going to be more tastings
Cool.
happening in the next few places.
Well, I think I might have to book you for a day.
Yeah, you should.
I'm here.
Yeah.
I'm not too far.
No, you're not.
No.
No, you're not.
Do it.
Okay. Well, thanks everybody. That was the Shucking King, Martin.
Hey you, you're listening to Just Drew, Just Drew, Just Drew.